Hey there, this is Gaurav. Welcome back with another video of the series Learn JavaScript from Scratch. So I hope you guys are enjoying this series. So in this video, we are going to learn the concept of variable and its scope. So without wasting any further time, let's jump right in. So let us understand the concept of variable. So what do you understand by the name variable? So one thing we can understand, like variable is something which can vary, right? Or to be very specific, I can say whose value can vary. What other point we can make? So variable is basically, it's a kind of container, or you can say it is a box where we can store some value that we can reuse it instead of writing that value again and again in our code. So let me show you what I am trying to say over here. So let's say there is a value called Jonas. I want to store this value in a variable. So how can I do this? So I mentioned like I need a container, right, where I can store the value. So let's say this is my container, okay, where I am storing, I am keeping the value that is Jonas. Now I have to give a name to this container so that we can identify it, right? So for that, let's say I have given a name that is first name. This is nothing but the name of the container. So we have to understand like what is this container is all about, right? So for that, first we have to understand how the memory block basically looks like behind the scene. So here I'll be giving you a high level overview so that you can at least imagine what I'm trying to say. So here you can see a number of small block, right? So this smallest block or unit we can say as 1 bit size, which can store either 0 or 1. So our memory block is basically divided by a large number of smallest 1 bit memory block. So I'll be taking some of the memory block of some bits, let's say, as this is nothing but my container. The container that is storing Jonas, this is nothing but a number of smallest memory block of 1 bit size. So now you got the idea what is a memory block. So can I say that the variable name here, the first name, which is the name of the container, is nothing but the name of the memory block, right? So what is a variable? Then variable is nothing but, in other way we can say, it is nothing but the name of the memory block where we are storing the value. So here first name is nothing but a variable. So now let me show you how we can declare a variable and use it. Okay, so in order to see that in practice, I will be using some online JavaScript console. So you just search for JS bin online on browser. Let's open it up. So I need JavaScript and console, but you can play with HTML, CSS and output as well. Okay. So what was the name of the memory block or container? It was first name, right? And that's where I'm going to store something called Jonas. I have to put a single quote because Jonas is nothing but a string. So we will discuss that in the next video, that is data type in JavaScript. Okay, but my question is how JavaScript will understand that this first name is a variable, right? Makes sense? So for that, we have to use a keyword, and that keyword is called var. You can see some color has changed, right? So once we'll use this keyword var, then the whatever we'll write here, this is nothing but a variable. So my system will understand, okay, so first name is variable. At the end of a line, we should put a semicolon. Now, if I try to print this variable in console, then I should be using console.log. If I write first name over here, then it should print Jonas. Let's see. Perfect. It's working fine, right? So let me show you how we can play with a variable. Let's say I want to sum two number, right? This is number 1. Let's say equal to 5 and number 2 equal to 6. Okay. Now I need to sum this number as well as I want to multiply this number. So we have declared two variables, that is sum and multiple, insert mult. That means we haven't initialized it, we haven't assigned any value yet, but we are going to put some value in it, right? We are going to store some value in it. We will do that now. So let's say sum equal to, very simple, we are using the variable, let's say number 1 plus number 2 and multiple equal to, okay, perfect. So you can say we are reusing the variable, right? I mean, we are not writing this value 5 and 6 again and again. So if I will go for console.log sum and our multiple, I should see both the value. Let's clear it out and let's run it again. See, I can see the value, right? 11 and 30. So that's how basically variable is working. So the next concept is a variable scope. So where we are declaring a variable, that is very important. So one example of a declaration statement is like this, where we are using a keyword and identifier like var first name. So we have declared a variable first name, but we can initialize it, right? So if we declare and initialize it, then we will be getting something like var first name equal to Jonas. Now where we are writing this line, that is very important, and based on that the scope of the variable will be decided. So scope of a variable is the block, or I can say a region in the code where my variable is declared and can be accessed. So let me show you one point which is very important. Just keep in your mind. Later we will discuss on that again. That is a variable created by var keyword, right? So far we have seen only one keyword, that is var, but there are other keyword as well through which we can create a variable. We will see that later. So if you are creating a variable using var keyword, then that variable is a function scope. We will see that in example. So again, I am back to the JavaScript console, that is JS bin. So first let me declare a variable. So here I am declaring as well as I am initializing the value, right? So where we are writing this line is very important. So right now we have written this line outside of any block, any function at the very top level. That is what called global scope. Okay. So if we are writing some variable or declaring some variable in global scope, then that variable will be accessible throughout the global scope. I mean, inside any function, anything, if you write any block, then throughout the block or function, you can access this variable because it is in global scope. Okay. So now let me write a function. We will discuss about function in other video, just to give you some idea. So let me create a function. Okay, so I have defined a function that is sum of two number. So let me pass those two number. Let me call it. We will discuss about function in other video. Don't focus on it right now. I'll just show you the scope of a variable. I am storing the value, let's say result, and let me print it. Fine. So let me just run it. We can get the result, right? So let me clear it. Okay, so we can say we have declared a variable sum. Where we have declared? It is declared inside a function. It is not outside a function. That means it is not declared as a global scope. Okay, it is declared as a local scope, local to that function. That means we can use this sum only inside this function. We cannot use this sum other. So let me show you. If I write console.log and then sum, let's see what we get. Here it is saying sum is not defined. That means it cannot find the sum because sum has been declared inside that function only. So we cannot use sum outside, right? So that is what called scope. I mean, up to what region you can access a variable. So here my region is up to a function. This is the block. Okay. So this is the scope of a function. So that's why a variable declared by a var keyword, it is function scoped. So that's all for this video. In the next video, we'll understand the concept of keyword. So we mentioned that a var is a keyword, right? So we will see the concept of keyword and identifier. So what are the others keyword are available in JavaScript? So thank you for watching. See you on the next video.